Hello and welcome back to season 2 of Cinema Q. I am J. Robert Oppenheimer.
And I'm Barbie. And we're so glad you're here. Guys, it's us. Did you think I was Margot Robbie? Stop.
Did you think I was Cillian Murphy? Let's
Literally,
go.
stop. Hey, what's up? We took a long enough break this summer that we are now calling this season 2 of Cinema Q.
And we kind of had a crazy summer, so we wanted to share a little bit about that with you guys, little updates on our lives. We were doing film-related stuff. So
Yes, and then we're going to jump into the Barbenheimer, obviously, reviews in the next episode, but we'll do our scoring here. So if you have not seen Barbie and you have not seen Oppenheimer, this is your episode. We'll tell you why you should or shouldn't. And then we'll also just share a little about our summer.
Yeah, absolutely. And a little bit of the changes that we're going to be doing with season 2 coming up for Cinema Q here. So
yeah, like costume changes.
Yeah.
And setup changes. We were like, we just want to sit on a couch today.
India's like, I don't want to move from this spot. Can you set up the cameras around me? And then proceeded to get up and doll herself up for Barbie. So
I always look like this. You are. What are you kidding? Anyway, I never look like this.
There's a coffee stain on your headband.
Yes.
Yeah, and my hat
wearing a pound of
doesn't
makeup.
fit. So yeah, this is us attempting to fit the part because I love me some Cillian Murphy. And we're just playing into the stereotypes that Oppenheimer is a man's movie and Barbie's a girl's movie, I guess, because I offered to dress up as Barbie or Ken.
It's true.
But India wouldn't allow it. So we saved you guys from that.
And with that, here's our intro music.
Okay, ready? Welcome to Cinema Q, where we chat all things film and faith through our lens of storytellers and as a creative, married duo. I'm Ian McHugh, filmmaker, actor, and writer with over 10 years in the industry.
And I'm India, photographer and actress. Together, we discuss the art of filmmaking and review what we're watching, all to discover what should go next in your Cinema Q. Let's do it.
Let's go.
Babe, hello.
Hello.
Okay, so we need to tell the people about our summer.
We do.
Because we've been gone. We've been gone for a while, and we haven't posted, I think, an episode since like May or June.
Probably.
Like early June.
Yeah, we took a couple months off. So what's been going on?
Yeah, everything. So I feel like our
Everything,
lives,
everywhere, all at once.
Listen, I think people think our lives are busier than they are, but then we look back on our lives and go, how did we make
How the heck
that
did we
happen?
do all of that?
So I don't know, because sometimes people are like, I can't keep track of you. You're everywhere. And I'm like, no, you just live in Ohio. So there's not a lot going on here. So when you see someone leave, you're like, what's happening?
Whoa.
But also, legitimately, we do have a lot going on. So.
Gosh, yeah. We took a road trip down to Texas to leave on a cruise to go to Mexico.
Yes.
And then...
my first cruise, his second or third.
Third, yeah. So big
cool.
road trip.
It was cool. I decided I'm not like a cruise girly.
Wearing that outfit, you could be, though.
But it was fun. It's just like we only got to be on land, like in Mexico, for like less than 12 hours total.
So you're kind of thinking about going again to Mexico to actually be able to truly experience it.
Yeah. So I think that's my thing. Is like I like the idea of like the first cruise was cool, but like I'm like, if I travel, I think I want to be in the country a little longer to like get to know it. But what do you guys think? Let us know in the comments. McCruise, by the way, it was called the McCruise.
We just have to always, pun off of our last name. And then we had about a week once we got back, road tripped back. It was a total of 9 days with traveling with 7 people in one SUV. That was wild. 3 of them being under the age of 10. Yes. Super fun. But then about a week after I got back, I headed up to Canada.
Yes.
And so drove there. That was a 12-hour one on a fishing trip for another total of like 9 days.
Yeah. Also, by the way, everyone I've told that you went to a fishing trip in Canada, they're like, he like likes that.
I love it. We had a cabin right on the lake. We had a private dock area.
They're like 9 days fishing. That's so long.
We fished for like 7 of them and ate fish every night, played cards. It was a blast. Went with my uncle, my dad, and my brother. So
this man
from
in his suit on a boat.
North and south, Canada and Mexico.
Yeah. And while you were gone, I did a whole mudroom makeover. So I don't think that I'm like talented at home renovations, but I like to get my like hands dirty with home projects. So when he was gone, I was like, I could work or I could tear up the whole house and like invest like $100 into a brand new project. And it turned out so cool. Like, not gonna lie, it's actually awesome.
It's really great. It was like the messiest room in the house. It's kind of a catch-all, and she surprised me with that, and it was such a pleasant surprise because now that room is one of my favorites.
Yeah, it looks cool. And so when he was gone, I did a home project. You can watch my TikToks to see how that turned out. I want to do
You
YouTube
auditioned
videos
a lot too,
to show us stuff.
Yeah,
and then you came back, and then we were both here for like a hot second, and then I went to Charleston, South Carolina with my siblings for a photography like workshop thing, and then we just made it like a beach week. It was super fun.
And I spent 3 days kind of fixing up our camper van.
Yes.
And took that camping.
We both are more productive when the other one is gone.
Yes,
we're like, I have to impress them when they come home.
Yeah. And took that camping on a family camping trip. It's just kind of here in Ohio, but I had some film projects in the middle of that. And so I didn't get to go nearly as long as I like kind of wanted to. I was kind of back and forth, but camper van's up and running now. And his name is Huckleberry. But
also on our TikTok and Instagram, you can see Huck. We love Huck.
We love Huck. India's trying to get rid of Huck, but we love Huck.
Listen, this man, okay.
The van's almost as old as me, so it's in its 30s.
So old. It's like 31, 32 years old.
It's 30
and
on the dot.
The whole thing cost like $3,000. And then you had to put like $3,000 into it with the transmission.
New transmission, new map sensors, new little bit of everything.
So
but
it's like a lot of an investment for a very cute little camper van.
We stayed in it and it worked.
It did.
Now I just got to fix the radiator something. But yeah, so that's kind of allowed us to adventure some. And we're like, hey, if that wasn't enough.
Last week, we were in Corridon. I almost forgot.
I honestly forgot about this.
Corridon, Indiana.
My goodness. Well, I was going to talk about... Okay, go ahead to this and then we'll move on.
We were in Corridon, Indiana because last year I was in a film called I Can, which... Drum roll, we have a release date for. Ra-ta-ta. Theatrical release, baby. September 22nd. Theaters. My face in a theater for like 5 seconds in the movie. But
couple lines.
5 good seconds. And I do have lines, so I'm a principal actress.
And you'll see both of our names in the credits. I got to help out with some camera work, but you get to see her pretty face. So go watch it for that.
My party face. Yeah. I'm excited because, I've never been in a movie in theaters.
We left Mohican and Huck and got to Corridon and filmed until 2 a.m. on the same day. And that's a 4-hour drive.
Less than 2 weeks ago. Yeah. So we did the camping, drove an hour home, drove 4.5 hours to Corridon, got to our place that we were staying at, which was just awesome. It's basically First Capital Productions produced I Can, and they're producing this limited series we were a part of last week. And because it's a church,
Grief Share.
Yes, because it's a church doing it, a lot of people are very keen on helping and being hospitable. So someone from the church let us have her home.
Shout out to Linda. Unfortunately, she was traveling and stuff with her daughter, so we actually didn't even see her. She was just like, "Here's our house."
Yeah, it's like we just go to some random address, and she's like, "Come on in to make it home."
Here's a garage door opener, and
that's awesome.
Yeah, so she's super sweet. It's actually, we stayed with her during I Can, and now Grief Share.
Yes.
This one, India kind of helped behind the camera with BTS. She got a small role in this one, but I actually got to play a lead, and we are surrounded by some of the most incredible talent.
Ian was a lead character in this star-studded cast.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
We had it's such an amazing group of people.
He did amazing.
And it's a 4-episode miniseries, and I love it. It's one of the biggest roles I've gotten to play, and it was just really fun to be elevated by that kind of talent around me as well.
We'll have to post on our McHugh's Instagram some of the BTS because he also got fake tattoos for the role.
Double sleeves.
It was awesome. Not gonna lie, he looked so hot. I never have ever been like looking at someone with a ton of tattoos and going like, wow, that makes them hotter. Like sometimes like David Beckham or whatever. Sure, like you look cool.
Of course you went with David Beckham.
I don't know, soccer, I don't know. But like usually I've never been like attracted to guys with tattoos.
Like y'all, she would not stop complimenting me.
Y'all, we totally were like,
if I wasn't going into acting
hard.
At this point, I would have just gotten double sleeves because she was like that into me.
He looked real cute.
Yeah, I still have some residue of some of them left on my arms, and I might just have to go buy a bunch of fake ones to put on throughout the next couple months so she continues to like hoggle at my arms.
It was cute. He looked really good. And you impressed me a lot because I think it's also important to say this was not a SAG project. It had a lot of really amazing SAG talent, but it wasn't part of the union.
We support you guys on strike.
We support the writers.
We also love the craft and creating. So yeah, it's a tough balance.
Yeah. So I think that's important to say that we weren't like breaching the strike or anything. So a lot of actors.
It's a ministry tool.
Yeah. It came together to do it because it wasn't going to violate anything and we all wanted to create something. So it was awesome. But these actors are really, really incredible. Some of them have been on Lifetime shows or movies.
Some from Canada and from all over.
People came in from around different states. Really amazing, like big names with huge like recognition as the lead characters, and Ian is up there with these people acting just as well, like, you know, keeping up the pace with the scenes and the emotion. It was a proud wifey.
It was so fun. It was so fun. I can't
amazing.
Wait for you to see it. So India's is coming out in September. We'll find out some more about the release dates of my miniseries this fall.
Yes.
And my miniseries, this miniseries I'm in. And yeah, so we've been keeping up with like the film stuff.
Yeah. So it's been a busy year. And then I have weddings. Obviously, I'm doing wedding photography.
And you're coming up on a 3-month
time.
stretch where you're going to have 1 to 2 to 8 weddings every weekend for like 12 weeks straight. So we'll try to keep up on these cinema cues. We try to film them during the week.
Yeah.
And try to edit those and turn them around. And we'll hopefully be a little more consistent with season 2, trying to get them out on the right date and time. But our upload speeds are all over the place.
Crazy.
And just completely unpredictable. So
yeah, that was our summer so far. Yeah. It's August when we're recording.
And that's what I was about to say is if we didn't think that was crazy enough, India's like, hey, what if I maybe plan another trip to Mexico and let's go to Maine?
Yeah.
And we are excited for Maine because that's coming up end of September, early October. And it's just going to be like us away in Acadia National Forest in a beautiful cabin, just like creating, reading, being artists, right? And so it's going to be just a beautiful time to write and to make stuff or not make stuff, kind of whatever we want. And we kind of need that after all of this crazy, awesome adventure. We road tripped out to California, February to March. You went to the Carolinas. You touched both oceans this year.
We've been everywhere this year. This is cool. And I don't know. I feel like we're just kind of in that zone of like, just do it.
We want memories, Nike. Right? Yeah. Memories.
I don't know. Like we are definitely like budgeters and we're creatives and we both work for ourselves. So we have to like balance that. Mm-hmm. But
we also get the flexibility to go do this if we do plan it right.
And I'm also such a big proponent of like, just, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow or next year. Like take the trip, invest in it, be wise, but also like go. Mm-hmm. Like I've never regretted
You can always make more money. You can always make more money.
Right. And I don't know. I just think there's so many people who get stuck in the like, oh, well, I have to do this and I have to save for that and I can't take out this and I got to do that. And I'm like, oh, like,
we're going with no air conditioning, right? Yeah. We're going with no air conditioning in our house right now to save a couple pennies to be able to put that towards the next trip, you know? Like make sacrifices. We're just
pretending that it's Europe.
So if I'm sweaty on this and you can actually like see me, we're pretending it's Europe.
So
yeah. And so that's kind of our year. I got some film projects coming up, some cool shoots. You got some photo stuff.
Yeah.
Got the podcast picking back up. And speaking of season 2, we are going to change it up a little bit. And so we don't really just want it to be a podcast about what you should or shouldn't watch, even though it is called Cinema Q. We're going to also talk about things that we dialogue about with films in general, about kind of more topical things of actors and genres and things like that. And so let us know if there's any topical pieces of, film discussion that you want us to talk about on this. But season 2 will have a little more of that sprinkled in instead of just reviewing a single movie or TV series. We're going to also just be talking all things film.
Yeah, because I think we want people to be able to watch these regardless of if you've seen the movie we're talking about and not feel like, oh, I haven't seen that, so I'll just save it for later. Mm-hmm. Like, that's boring.
Yeah.
And also, like, we just walked through, we have crazy lives, and apparently y'all want to know about them, so you guys keep asking questions. So I think we want to sprinkle in some more episodes kind of like this, where we just, like, talk about what we've been up to, what we're doing, our thoughts and feelings on the world. Yeah, because there's like so many stories in each one of those trips. You have a story from Canada, I have a story from almost drowning in Mexico, and then being in Charleston. And then you have ones in
Carolina, and then I have some at Mohican.
Yeah, so I feel like, if you guys want more of those adventure travel stories, we'd love to like add some of those in there and
let you know a little bit more about us. So
what about us? Okay.
Yeah. So
today,
that is, the topic we got to get to now.
Today's Kernel episode is on...
Do you have a guess? I mean, we already told you.
Barbenheimer, which is the cultural social media coined term for the double weekend release of Barbie and Oppenheimer. Two polar opposite films by two polar opposite directors.
Yeah.
But both meaningful, both have social commentary, and we want to chat about them.
As everyone is right now.
Everyone's talking about it.
And so, we're going to just state our opinions about this. It doesn't mean that they're true, right, or wrong, or whatever, but we just kind of wanted to share our thoughts. And so bear with us. And we want it to be a discussion. So if we're off on some point, like with grace, approach us in the comments with that, and let's talk.
Be like, bye. Well, this is just our
for
review,
sure. But I'm just saying, like, overall, on our reviews of if we hate it or like it, just don't come after us with that. It's our opinion. We're allowed to have an opinion on some stuff about what we did or did not like, because both of us are well educated in film, and I think have a voice to add to the conversation. We're not trying to say that this is the end all be all of all of it. No, and we're right. Truth.
Our opinions are true.
Yeah. Nice yawn, babe. This is just our part of the conversation, and we hope that you will respect that and challenge us or agree with us. But that's what we're about to do. And the full episode coming up. But in the meantime, with this little kernel, is it scoring time?
I think so. First, I want to give like
a little pitch.
A little pitch. Little pitch. I can't get the explicit on our podcast. So Barbenheimer situation.
Yeah.
What did it mean culturally? Okay, I just think it's interesting because I have a background in marketing and I spend a lot of time on social media. But I think it's interesting that, like, for the past few years since COVID, theaters have been shut down, right? And then they started coming back, and certain movies were doing theater only premieres. Like, I think Black Widow was supposed to do theater only, and then at the last second, they also premiered it on Disney Plus. There was drama.
That was the whole thing with Scarlett Johansson and lawsuits because she was guaranteed certain amounts from,
And then theaters, thousands of theaters around the world and around the U.S. have been closing because not enough people have been going to see movies in the theater as they were intended to be seen, which is really sad because, like, movie theaters are a part of the community, and I think they bring everyone together. I can get on my soapbox later about art bringing everyone together, but...
and people are just starting to watch them on smaller and smaller screens, and they're meant for the big screen with the surround sound.
Yes. And it's also just, like, the individuality of streaming and headphones, and, like, I could go into all that later, but, like, we don't have very many things that brings us together as a community, and COVID showed us that when we're not coming together, people suffer. Like, that's obvious. So that's why I'm, like, such a big, like, fan of live theater, live music, movie screenings, like anything that gets everyone together. Like, it's cheaper to watch it at home and wait for the DVD.
Boo.
But, like, the communal aspect, it's the same with, like, church. Like, in COVID, there was a lot of debate, like, should Christians go to church? Should they not? I don't have a solid answer for that.
Do they get vaccines?
But we all do know when people come together to worship Jesus, it's different than if you're worshiping on your screen at home watching a live stream. It's just different. So all that said, I don't know if it was planned. I don't know if the producers at Warner Brothers and the producers at the Oppenheimer film were like, let's do
Oppenheimer.
This. I don't know. Who produced it?
I also still think it should be called Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer?
Instead of Barbenheimer.
I like Barbenheimer.
No, I just wanted to be different.
Moving on. I was going to say, I don't think the producers were like, let's release these two movies on the same weekend.
Same day.
But because they did, and then the public got wind of it, and then social media got wind of it, I think this is one of those moments where culture and social media made it more than it was. And because of that, the numbers are, like, skyrocketing. I do think Barbie would have gotten the same hype because of the cast and because of the, like, wider audience reach. But
all Christopher Nolan movies do well. Like, I mean, he's respected as one of the best of all time. And so people are going to go watch it. But making that hype and that almost like...
it was an event.
Yeah.
It was
almost
the thing.
The battle of the two, and everyone's talking about it.
And like, we got emails. Like, I got an email from Marcus Theater that was like, book 2 tickets for Barbenheimer. You know, here's how you can get your food in the middle. Like, people like theaters were advertising it as an event. So I think that was unique because I don't think we've seen something in the last 4 years, like since pre-COVID, that brought this rush of people into the theater again. So for that,
and Cillian Murphy
grateful.
even talked about it like that. He's like, look, I'm excited that, you know, they're coming out on the same day. And he's like, I love movies. So like the thought of going to a movie theater and being there all day watching great films, because they're both going to be like well-respected films in their own right. And he's like, I'm excited for that. I'm going to go and just, you know, spend half a day at a movie theater. He's like, that sounds great. So go Cillian.
Yeah. I just think that's interesting because I don't think we've had a lot of historic moments like that where it's like, let's do something to get everyone back on board. And I don't know, I think it's a unique thing to be like a millennial and watch like little blips of history of like, oh, we had this pandemic and the arts were not doing well and people were closing down theaters. So in response, let's dual release 2 very interesting, very different films. So I don't know, just kind of like unique little culture moment.
Yeah.
As far as the actual films, babe, okay. Also, I want to spill some tea on Ian.
Oh boy, please don't.
We didn't see them opening weekend, I should preface, because we were on set. But the following week, we saw them on 2 separate days.
Yeah, a Sunday and a Tuesday.
Yes.
So a couple days apart from each other.
We did see Barbie first.
Yep.
I don't know if we were in full agreement on that. I was excited to see Barbie first.
I was excited to see both. Like, I really wanted to understand what all this cultural hype was about these films. Yeah, I mean, I was fine with it. I didn't have a preference, but you were like, Barbie, Barbie.
We watched Barbie, and this man fell asleep 3 times.
Yeah, probably 3 times. Not on purpose. She got like a 9 o'clock showing, and
was it 9 o'clock?
Yeah, I think so. Because you almost did the 10, remember?
That's
but then,
true.
And I was just coming off of.
This man fell asleep 3 times.
Wait, wasn't it the day?
We got back the day before.
The day before we got back from this 6-day shoot where I'm pulling 16-hour days on set, acting as a lead in a series, and less than 24 hours. Yeah, less than 24 hours after we get back,
watched it.
She books a 9 o'clock showing, and yeah, so I fell asleep a couple times. Didn't mean to.
I just thought it was funny that between a 90-minute pink almost comedy musical, you fell asleep thrice, and during a 3-hour talking dramedy. Drama. You like were like wide awake.
Yeah, I was like, yeah.
But anyway, that's our experience. We didn't get to dress up or anything either, which is kind of bumsy. But
and I do want to say this, that both of us agreed that we both want to watch both films again, and so like we might not be as qualified as we should be doing this podcast, but we got to get this out there while the topic's hot.
Seriously.
But we do want to watch them again, and we want to give both of them another chance to because I think both have a lot of things that you can catch and dig into and really start to understand as you give it more and more time. Because as we've sat on both stories longer and longer, we come up
more.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do want to see them again. I will not sleep the second time I watch it. I kind of promise.
But yeah, you'll have to go to our next episode. We dive fully in to hear our full thoughts because we will spoil in that episode. So don't listen to that one unless you've seen them. Mm-hmm. But for now, we'll give our scores.
Okay.
And a little prereq because we both...
what?
Prerequisite.
Okay.
We both didn't love either film as much as we wanted.
Yeah, I wanted to love both. So we'll put that out there right now. It's kind of like didn't love, didn't hate. One of them I leaned a little more towards liking than the other. I
guess that's my point with bringing up the whole social media weekend event. I think
when there's so much hype around something.
I think if I saw it opening weekend, I would have felt better. I would have felt more positive about it. And I'm wondering if that's part of this large reaction. Everyone's like, I love it. I'm like, I saw it a week and a half later in a sleepy theater with Gonzo next to me chewing popcorn.
Gonzo.
Some random
Sorry,
guy.
Gonzo, you were fine.
Some single man was watching Barbie by himself. I was like, you go, buddy.
Dude. You go.
Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know, the hype. I was so excited for both, expecting them to just completely be the newest, best thing ever. And I was just like, it wasn't. They were good, but yeah, so that's kind of where we're landing.
All right, so we're going to make up our scores on the spot.
I don't even remember what the 4 categories were. So let's do acting.
Okay, acting and Barbie, go.
It was a unique style, right? And so I think Margot Robbie did really well. I enjoyed watching her performance.
We know you did.
I think, stop. She's one of my faves.
She's cute.
But I just didn't think there was a lot of space for a lot of depth. It was more so commentary on stuff instead of acting. Like we talk about this a little bit about like the show and tell. We can get into that more, but I don't think there was a lot of opportunity for anyone other than Margot Robbie to act, because they were all just plastic people, which is acting in itself, but it wasn't as entertaining of acting as I've seen in other things.
And one of my qualms, which I'll get into in the next one, they kept advertising like unique actors like Dua Lipa. She had like 1.5 lines.
And like John Cena popped up.
She just pops up and goes, "Hi, Barbie," and I was like, "That's her acting role," and she's like listed higher on IMDb than any of the other actors.
Yeah.
Ugh,
and
it makes
so
me upset.
Acting, I'll give it a 4 out of 10.
I would say for the genre and the role, I mean, like you fell asleep during Ken's big song, but
I know there was a reason for that.
I would say like, 6 out of 10 on acting. Like they did the part for the part, but
they did, but the story didn't allow for.
I was going to say the script didn't allow for much either. Yeah. Okay. So acting now for Oppenheimer. Let's do that.
Okay. Yeah.
Oppenheimer acting.
And so I think you're going to give it lower, but I am going to give it, I don't want to take away a line. We usually don't talk about this much before we get on here, but you did say like there wasn't like a lot of crying or like emotional, like
it was a
bigness.
Subtle acting kind of thing.
And so I think they did brilliant. Like I love Cillian Murphy. I think Robert Downey Jr.'s character was wonderful, but like there were so many characters and it was so fast that I was having trouble. Like, are they acting or who are they?
I've
and what's
never
their
been
name
good with those movies where you're like, what?
Yeah.
What are they talking about?
I'm going to give them a 7.2 out of 10.
I was going to say 8.5 out of 10.
I should probably go higher. I'll go 8.2.
It was subtle acting. There were loads of scenes, loads of cuts.
And the complexities of the mind that they were dealing with.
But
it showed it all internally instead of outwardly on the character. So I'll give it an 8.4.
Okay. I think, they did amazing for their characters and their roles, but there wasn't ever a moment where I was like, wow, this makes me excited for acting. There was a moment where I was like, this makes me excited for film. And
absolutely.
That was the difference. It's like the cut, the style, it was so unique. And I was like, I'm excited about film, but I wasn't like, wow, like someone's like sobbing or screaming and they're doing it so beautifully. It's like, okay, a lot of like, I'm standing and thinking. And it's like,
or
all right.
Is that kind of the new thing? Because like, I guess every scene and every character seemed natural in a way that like humans exist. Like they would talk about
very
that.
Much seemed natural.
And I was like, wow, or maybe this is like the best acting I've ever seen, because I don't think they're acting, because it is very human.
True. I never
and
thought
so there's
a
part of it like that, because
I don't know.
I don't know.
Good, but nothing like
I still don't think it required a lot from them. Besides just like, it was mostly like an internal battle that was represented with visuals.
Like, I know that people say subtle acting is stronger. Like, that's the strength of a performer. But at the same time, if you're having a bad day and you're called to set and they're like, all right, stand there and look at a chalkboard, you can fake that, versus if you're having a bad day and they're like, stand there and cry on cue and then throw this thing,
Yeah. And
so
but some people really struggle with subtle acting, so maybe they were better than me. Yeah. Good. I think better than Barbie's acting.
Great casting on Oppenheimer too. Every character felt normal.
You guys probably all know this, but like they Christopher Nolan like cast everyone but didn't tell anyone what parts they got until they showed up to set, and everyone just trusted him that like he'll deliver.
Okay, what's next? Family friendly. Barbie. I would say yes.
Yeah, I'd say like 8 out of 10 probably.
There was nothing sexual. There was nothing
like the
really
sets were cute, visually entertaining.
Yeah. You'll have to have a conversation about like feminism, but I think that's a good, healthy conversation.
Yeah, just like visually, I mean, besides a lot of abs from Ken's.
Might see too many abs.
Yeah. I said that's family friendly. It's fine.
Oppenheimer.
I mean, I don't think your kids are going to enjoy it because it's too high of a concept usually.
Well, there's a big buzz.
Go ahead.
There's a big buzz. And again, 'cause this podcast is really for bridging the gap from ultra conservative, probably Christian folks who are like, let's only watch VeggieTales, to the folks who watch anything and everything with no maybe lens or moral compass. There was a huge buzz in the Christian world. I'm going to call this out. I'm on a Facebook page. It's about Christian filmmakers or something. And I forget the name of it, but it's like Christian filmmaking. And someone commented in there, don't see Barbie unless you want overt feminism and something leftist, yeah, whatever. And then in like the thread, everyone's like, yeah, we won't see Barbie. And then like the next day he posts, don't see Oppenheimer unless you want full nudity and blah blah blah. Jesus would never.
Film and
I was like, this is so intriguing to me because we talk about all the time on here. You have to separate the art and the reason the art exists from one curse word or one pair of Florence's boobs. Florence Pugh's boobs. But like, it's just like sometimes nudity is part of the human body and sometimes language is part of the human experience. So while you need a filter, you also,
so go at it with a filter. Be smart about it. If you struggle with something, don't lean into that. But like even our pastor at church, Joel, shout out to you, man. It talks about like the ability to go in and experience art with nuance, right? And not take all of your ideals and just be like, oh, they said a swear word and I don't cuss, so I'm going to completely cancel everything about this. There's still beautiful art around from that, and you have to be able to kind of take that out, set it aside, and try to experience the rest of it.
Exactly. And I was also going to say about the nudity in Oppenheimer, it was so small, and
her boobs were small. I don't know. I closed my eyes.
Ian, like a good man, was like, no. But no, here's what I'm saying. The buildup from the Christian community online was like, boo, nudity, terrible. And I'm like, okay, I'm expecting it to be this like huge, sexual scene or something massive. And it happened 2 times for not that much screen time. And it's a 3-hour film. So it's like, here's the amount of time that was an issue. Yeah. Here's the amount of screen time we have to work with.
So if you can just put that off to the side and just skip through that part, like then enjoy the rest of the film.
Yeah.
Because it's cool.
I don't know. I just don't like when people skip out on good cinema because they're like, this one thing.
Yeah.
So pray about it. Move on.
Yeah. And so family friendly, I'd say like a 2.
Yeah, like a
2 out of 10. Once your kids start getting into like history classes, high school, maybe, have some conversations with them and fast forward through some parts. But
it's definitely not like a visual heavy movie. And I thought it was going to be more explosions.
Yeah. And, all right. And so we'll do cinematography.
Oppenheimer.
We'll start with Oppenheimer this time.
8 out of 10.
I'd say, I wish I got to see it on the full like 70 mil IMAX, whatever. Also, he doesn't use a lot of CGI.
Did he use any CGI?
He just at all costs, he just really tries not to. He uses practicals as much as he can. And so like even the explosion was just a ton of dynamite.
Really?
Yeah.
I was wondering.
Yeah. And so I'll have to give it like a 9.1 because of his choices of black and white as well, with the storytelling and subjective from Cillian Murphy's character to the black and white of Dr. Strauss's point of view. It was like the lived experience in color for Cillian Murphy and everyone else's point of view of what was going on in the black and white, which is like pretty cool.
Was that because it was like supposed to be, there is no nuance, it's black and white, it's right or wrong, launching a bomb, not launching a bomb?
I don't know. I just think it was a style choice that I'll have to look more into it. But yeah, it was like when we are in color, we're having it more so through Cillian's Oppenheimer's experience point of view. Mm-hmm. And then when we go to the black and white, it's more like Strauss's and everyone else like watching in on the experience happening.
That makes sense.
And so it was just like a cool choice. Christopher Nolan's a beast. I really like that.
Yeah, it was good. There was a few moments where they were just completely out of focus, and I was like, oh, it's probably for the art.
Oh, it was.
But it wasn't like clear enough. I was like, yes, it's because his judgment is blurry. And I'm like, or someone just kept it out of
that's
focus.
Christopher Nolan for you, is because you have to think through everything. Everything is so intentional from him. It's really cool.
Cool.
Barbie.
And
so for Barbie, so this was cool because like they created a new world. They did a lot of fun. There was no CGI in that either. Kidding. But like a plastic world that paid tribute to the original Barbie, playhouses and all that stuff. And like really cool, really fun.
Yeah. Set design was like great.
Set design was great. And I think that spoke to the cinematography. I don't think anything was like absolutely amazing, but I'll give it like a 7 out of 10.
I would say cinematography, probably 6 out of 10, but set design and costuming was higher.
I think that all kind of helped with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't remember anything being out of focus. It was like,
we always say that. We're like, well, nothing was out of focus. So
yeah, so they did pretty well.
Must be good.
I think the storytelling of going across from, Barbie land to the real world or whatever, and like even just the camera direction choices to show the journey and which way they were moving. Like it was intentional.
I think Greta Gerwig did a good job with the
Greta.
direction, but I have qualms with the script, and you'll hear about that in the next episode.
And so the last one's probably overall.
Yeah.
I'd say
Tell us how you
Barbie.
feel, baby.
I say Barbie is like I want to watch it again just because I want to give it another chance.
Yeah.
Falling Asleep wasn't, but it's not gonna be a like instant classic for me that I'm like, oh, I gotta watch this every year. And so I'll give it like a 4.9 out of 10.
Yeah.
Just kind of like mid.
Yeah, I'm going to say 6.5 out of 10. Similarly, and it's hard because that's my overall thought, but as a movie, should people go watch it? I would say yes, because even though I don't think it's the most groundbreaking feminist or, women forward film out there, I think it got the conversation going. And I'm seeing loads of stuff on social media.
Conversation that needs to be had with some people.
Yeah, I'm seeing loads of people on social media be like, well, what does it mean? And well, I loved it or I hated it. And I at least like the dialogue, right? Like it's kind of what people say about like the Met Gala fashion. They're like, you either want people to love your outfit or hate your outfit because at least they're talking. Mm-hmm. Like that's the whole point. And I think that's what's cool about both films is they got a lot of people talking about both things.
Yeah.
Oppenheimer.
I love Christopher Nolan's stuff. People are saying it's some fancy like Latin word for his best of all time. I don't think it was. I still think like Interstellar and some of those ones are up there, some of his older stuff. And so I'll give that one like a 7.1.
Yeah, I was thinking 7 out of 10 too.
Yeah, 7.1. And so again, I want to see him again, and maybe like Christopher Nolan's, if I sit with it, I'm sure I can probably love it for other reasons that I didn't like it before. But yeah, both of them a little more mid than I wanted them to be.
Yeah.
As the kids say, mid. And so, yeah, I'd say like a 5 and a 7. All right, it's pretty much where it's at.
Yeah. But again,
and
I
not
would say
because
go
of,
see Oppenheimer, go see Barbie.
Yeah,
Talk to us.
Go see both because of the conversation.
Put a comment. Do you totally agree? Do you disagree? Obviously, you probably agree with every single word we've said.
Yeah. I just love the complexities that Oppenheimer gave about the human condition. And then I appreciate what Barbie was trying to say about patriarchy and women and all that. And I think those conversations need to be had.
Totally.
On both sides. But I think both films could have handled things a little differently. And we'll talk about that in the next episode.
Yeah. So again, if you have not seen those movies, go watch them before you watch the next episode. And we're going to dive into why we gave those scores, what we would do differently.
And I very may well change into sweatpants for this next episode.
I think I will too. This Barbie's going to wear sweatpants. That's it for now.
And this is J. Robert Oppenheimer.
Push the detonator.
We got to have a little explosion here in the edit that just goes up. But welcome back to season 2 of Cinema Q, and we hope you enjoyed, and on to the next.